Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Lou Christie's voice was a defining chord of the 1960s, a falsetto that soared above the rest and spoke directly to the heart. Born Luigi Alfredo Giovanni Sacco in 1943 in the Pittsburgh area, Lou discovered music early. He met songwriter Twyla Herbert in high school, forging a songwriting partnership that endured more than 4 decades and shaped his signature sound. In 1963, he burst onto the national scene with The Gypsy Cried and Two Faces Have I, showcasing a distinctive style built around youthful longing and emotional intensity. But it was his 1966 anthem, Lightnin' Strikes, that cemented his place in pop history. An original blend of lush orchestration, dramatic tension, and Lou's haunting falsetto, the song climbed to #1 on his 23rd birthday. That same year, he followed up with Rhapsody in the Rain, a daring and evocative track for its time. Radio bans couldn't dim its impact, and Lou pressed on, always willing to push boundaries. Still, the journey wasn't always smooth. Record executives initially rejected Lightnin' Strikes, calling it a flop. Undeterred, Lou and Twyla invested their own money into promoting it. That leap of faith paid off. He also faced the inevitable pressures of the music business, navigating creative expectations, changing genres like country, and enduring the roller coaster of chart success. His persistence shone through again in 1969 with I'm Gonna Make You Mine, another top 10 hit, and into the 1970s with a country-tinged version of Beyond the Blue Horizon. Into the 2000s, he continued recording and touring, celebrating his legacy on nostalgia circuits alongside peers like Frankie Avalon. On June 18, 2025, Lou passed away at age 82 at home in Pittsburgh after a brief illness. Those final days were peaceful, surrounded by family and treasuring a lifetime of music and memories. For generations of older American listeners, Lou Christie was more than a voice. He was an emotional storyteller. His highs and lows resonate with anyone who's experienced longing, love, challenge, and triumph. He reminds us that passion, courage, and a touch of the unconventional can create timeless art. So when you hear that falsetto again, on a classic radio station or in your memory, remember how Lou dared to sound different, dared to feel deeply, and dared to leave a mark. Dan Storper's story began not on a corporate stage, but on the dusty roads of Latin America, packed into the trunk of his mind. Born in Manhattan in 1951 and raised on Long Island, Dan graduated in 1973 with a degree in Latin American studies and a burning curiosity for the world. What started as a love for woven textiles soon grew into something greater: music. In 1975, he named his shop Putumayo, after a Colombian river, selling crafts and playing adventurous sounds in the store. When heavy metal blared one day, Dan stepped in with a mixtape of global rhythms, and listeners listened. What followed was nothing short of revolutionary. In 1993, with partner Michael Krause, Dan transformed Putumayo into a record label that became a window to forgotten voices. He opened ears to Zouk from Guadeloupe, Sucus from Congo, and Son Cubano from Cuba, often packaged in charming folk art covers that invited exploration. By 2023, Putumayo had sold over 35 million CDs worldwide and earned a place in the Harvard Music Library with its 37,000 CD archive. Dan's work wasn't just about hits, it was about healing, connection, and curiosity. The gentle way Putumayo compiled songs, guided listeners from one continent to another, was Dan's gift to listeners everywhere. it wasn't always easy. In 1997, Dan sold his retail shops and faced the challenge of reinventing his brand. When streaming emerged, he again pivoted, launching Putumayo Digital in 2022 to adapt to changing habits. Through every shift, his mission never wavered. Music can be a force for positive change. On May 22, 2025, just 2 days after his 74th birthday, Dan passed away peacefully at his home in New Orleans, ending a hard-fought battle with pancreatic cancer. He leaves behind his son William, sisters Sarah and Barbara, and a legacy of sound that spans the globe. For older listeners in America, those who remember walking into bookstores, airports, or Whole Foods and seeing those colorful Putumayo CDs, Dan offered an invitation: travel through music. His journey reminds us that one person's curiosity can ripple into millions of lives. He faced illness with grace. He faced industry challenges with creativity. And through it all, he shared stories from every corner of the earth, bridging cultures with melody and purpose. Whenever you hear an unfamiliar song now, remember Dan Storper, the man who dared to invite the world into your living room. Breaking news. Today, we explore the extraordinary journey of a man whose elastic face, boundless energy, and emotional depth made him both a legend of laughter and a voice of inner reflection. Jim Carrey is not just a comedian or actor. He is a symbol of resilience, transformation, and the pursuit of truth beneath the spotlight. How do you view his evolution from slapstick star to soulful artist? Let us know in the comments as we dive into the triumphs, trials, and tenacity of one of Hollywood's most fascinating figures. Born on January 17, 1962, in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, Jim Carrey was the youngest of 4 children in a working-class family. His early life was marked by hardship. After his father lost his job, the family lived out of a van. Jim, just a teenager, worked as a janitor while going to school, often battling exhaustion and insecurity. But even in the shadows, he found light. Comedy became his coping mechanism, and soon it turned into his calling. By the late 1970s, Carrey began performing stand-up comedy in Toronto clubs, gradually honing a style marked by exaggerated impressions and physical fluidity. His talent brought him to Los Angeles, where he became a regular at the Comedy Store. Yet success did not come overnight. For years, Carrey was told he was too weird, too animated, or simply not leading man material, but he refused to dilute his uniqueness. Then came 1994, the year everything changed. With 3 back-to-back hits, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, Carrey skyrocketed to global fame. Audiences were captivated by his manic brilliance, his fearless abandon, and his ability to turn absurdity into art. Hollywood took notice too. Within a few years, he became one of the highest-paid actors in the world, earning $20 million per film, a rare feat at the time. Yet Carrey was never content to simply make people laugh. He longed to explore deeper emotional terrain. That transition came with The Truman Show in 1998 and Man on the Moon in 1999. In both films, Carrey peeled back layers of performance to reveal vulnerability, existential doubt, and the human need for authenticity. He was rewarded with Golden Globe wins and newfound respect as a dramatic actor. Behind the scenes, however, Carrey was grappling with profound emotional challenges. He has openly discussed his long battle with depression, describing periods of his life when he felt empty despite his fame. These inner struggles were compounded by public scrutiny and personal heartbreaks, including the loss of a former partner and the toll of extended legal disputes. To cope, Carrey stepped away from the limelight. He turned inward, embracing meditation, painting, and philosophical reflection. In interviews, he spoke not as a celebrity, but as a seeker of truth, questioning the very idea of identity and ego. He told the world, "I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer. During this introspective period, Carrey's art became his outlet. His paintings, often bold and politically charged, revealed a man in deep conversation with the world. He published a children's book, engaged in philanthropic work, and appeared selectively in film projects. His 2020 performance as Dr. Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog reintroduced him to a new generation, proving that his energy and timing remained unmatched. Health has also played a significant role in Carrey's journey. He reportedly suffered a severe gallbladder episode while filming a comedy sequel, but carried on professionally without complaint. Though he has not disclosed major chronic physical illnesses, Carrey has consistently emphasized the importance of mental health. Rather than conceal his struggles, he has used his platform to destigmatize them, offering support to others navigating similar battles. In 2022, Carrey announced his intention to take a break, perhaps a permanent one, from acting. He expressed fulfillment in his personal life and a desire to live quietly, surrounded by nature, creativity, and inner peace. He said he had done enough and no longer felt the need to chase approval or acclaim. This retreat was not a disappearance, but a conscious act of self-preservation. And yet, the curtain never truly falls on a performer like Jim Carrey. In 2025, he made a surprise return for the third installment of the Sonic franchise. Fans rejoiced. Here was the same unpredictable spark, the same wild glint in his eye, but tempered with wisdom. It was a reminder that while life evolves, the essence of a true artist never dims. Jim Carrey's life has been a study in contrasts, a man of extreme expressions, both comic and contemplative, a public figure who yearned for privacy, a superstar who sought stillness. Through his films, his words, and his art, he has invited us to laugh, to question, and to grow. His journey is not merely one of fame, but of depth, resilience, and ultimately, of liberation. What are your most unforgettable moments of Jim Carrey's career? Has his story inspired you in any way? Share your reflections in the comments. If his transformation from comic chaos to soulful clarity moved you, consider subscribing for more heartfelt tributes to the icons who shaped our culture. Thank you for joining us in celebrating a man who taught us that joy and pain often dance together, and that even behind the widest smile, there can lie the deepest truth. Richard Chamberlain was a symbol of elegance, talent, and quiet resilience, a man whose journey through fame mirrored the evolving heart of American television. From the moment he first appeared as the compassionate Dr. Kildare in 1961, to his unforgettable roles in Shogun and the Thorn Birds, Chamberlain redefined what it meant to be a leading man: intelligent, introspective, and endlessly magnetic. Born in Los Angeles on March 31, 1934, Chamberlain's rise was swift. With striking good looks and a soft-spoken strength, he captured the hearts of millions as Dr. Kildare, turning a medical drama into a cultural phenomenon. Yet Chamberlain was never content with just charm. He sought depth, traveling to England to train in Shakespeare, defying expectations to play Hamlet, Richard II, and Cyrano on British and American stages. But it was television where his artistry reached its peak. His Golden Globe-winning performance in Shogun, 1980, and his haunting portrayal of a conflicted priest in The Thorn Birds, 1983, remain two of the most beloved miniseries in history. He embodied characters with quiet anguish and moral complexity, never simply performing, but inviting audiences into deeply human stories. Off-screen, Chamberlain was a painter, a singer, and a thoughtful advocate for the environment. He lived much of his later life in Hawaii, painting, reflecting, and continuing to perform well into his 80s. He also found strength in personal honesty, opening up about his identity in his 2003 memoir Shattered Love, a moving reflection on love, fear, and liberation. On March 29, 2025, Chamberlain passed peacefully in Waimanalo, Hawaii, due to complications following a stroke. He was 90. His longtime partner and best friend, Martin Rabbit, described him simply and beautifully. He is free and soaring. Love never dies. Richard Chamberlain leaves behind a legacy not only of legendary performances, but of courage, grace, and a life lived with quiet dignity. His voice will echo through generations, not only in film and stage, but in every story that dares to be both bold and tender. Brian Wilson was more than a pop genius. He was a soul that sang of beauty, loss, and longing with a voice that echoed through generations. As the creative force behind the Beach Boys, Wilson didn't just write hits. He reimagined what popular music could be, infusing it with spiritual ambition, layered emotion, and daring innovation. Born in Hawthorne, California in 1942, Wilson's early fascination with harmonies, jazz, and classical form blossomed into a lifelong pursuit of sonic beauty. With his brothers and friends, he founded the Beach Boys in 1961, capturing the essence of California youth and turning surfboards and drag races into national anthems of freedom. Yet beneath the brightness, Wilson carried shadows, struggles with mental illness, the weight of family trauma, and the burden of genius that set him apart. He reached his creative pinnacle in 1966 with Pet Sounds, an album that transformed pop into poetry. With its lush arrangements, animal sound effects, and aching lyrics, it redefined the emotional possibilities of the 3-minute song. Critics and peers hailed it as a masterpiece. Paul McCartney called it a major inspiration. Later that year, Good Vibrations would take that vision even further, stitching together fragments from 90 hours of studio tape into one of the most iconic singles in history. Wilson's life was also marked by retreat and resilience. After years of seclusion and personal battles, he found healing in music, family, and friendship. With the unwavering support of his second wife, Melinda, and a new generation of collaborators, he returned to the stage, revisited his lost opus Smile, and shared his gifts with fans across the world. On June 11, 2025, Brian Wilson passed away peacefully at age 82. His family confirmed his departure with grace, asking for privacy and remembrance. His music, tender, towering, transcendent, remains one of America's greatest cultural treasures. From surf songs to symphonic visions, Brian Wilson showed the world that pop could be profound. And though he is gone, his harmonies live on, in waves, in memory, and in every heart he ever touched. Charles Rangel was Harlem's voice, its fire, and its unwavering heart in the halls of Congress for nearly half a century. Known lovingly as the Lion of Lenox Avenue, Rangel's journey from a high school dropout to one of the most influential legislators in American history embodied the very spirit of resilience and public service. Born on June 11, 1930 in Harlem, Rangel served his country before he ever held office, earning a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart in the Korean War. That courage carried him through every chapter of his life. In 1970, he unseated the legendary Adam Clayton Powell, Jr. to become the U.S. representative for New York's 13th District. He would serve in Congress for 46 years, becoming the first black chair of the powerful House Ways and Means Committee and a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Rangel's legislative legacy is deep and lasting. He championed urban revitalization through the Empowerment Zone program, expanded affordable housing, and was instrumental in shaping key provisions of the Affordable Care Act. He authored over 40 laws that changed the lives of working-class Americans and gave voice to the underserved. But his legacy wasn't built in policy alone. It lived in his voice, booming with conviction, in his laugh, full of Harlem's warmth, and in his unshakable belief that America should live up to its promise for all. Even amid controversy late in his career, Rangel faced scrutiny with dignity, always anchoring his reputation in a lifetime of hard-earned service. He passed away on May 26, 2025, at the age of 94, surrounded by the city and the people he fought for. Preceded in death by his beloved wife Alma in 2024, Rangel is survived by his children and grandchildren, his pride, his legacy, and his love. Charles Rangel lived a life of purpose, power, and perseverance. He didn't just represent Harlem, he carried it with him into every vote, every battle, every dream. And though his voice has quieted, his impact will echo for generations. Charles Strouse spent his life giving the world melodies it would never forget. Bright, hopeful, and deeply human. From the joyful bounce of Bye Bye Birdie to the enduring optimism of Annie, Strauss's music captured the rhythms of American life with grace, wit, and boundless heart. Born in New York City in 1928, Strauss's gift was evident from an early age. He trained with the great Aaron Copland and studied in Paris with Nadia Boulanger, but it was the stage that called to him. In 1960, Bye Bye Birdie made its Broadway debut, his first show and an instant sensation. That same spark of joy would light up theaters for decades to come. Strauss composed more than a dozen Broadway musicals, including Applause and Golden Boy, and wrote for television and film, but it was Annie that became his most beloved triumph. When Tomorrow first rang out on stage in 1977, it wasn't just a song, it was a promise, a balm, a declaration of hope that would travel across generations. In community centers, classrooms, and concert halls around the world, Strauss's melodies continue to lift spirits and inspire dreams. He was honored with 3 Tony Awards, a Grammy, and the devotion of countless fans and performers. Yet Strauss remained modest, always eager to work, always composing. "I have something to get up for," he once said of his music. "I love it. I love composing." On May 15, 2025, Charles Strouse passed away at the age of 96 at his home in New York City, surrounded by the legacy he built, one of resilience, harmony, and heartfelt song. He was preceded in death by his wife Barbara, his partner of over 60 years, and is survived by their 4 children. Charles Strouse didn't just write show tunes, he gave voice to joy, to struggle, to the quiet triumph of carrying on. His songs will outlive the spotlight, reminding us always that no matter how dark today may feel, the sun will come out tomorrow. Valerie Mahaffey's life was a beautiful performance, subtle, radiant, and filled with grace. From her Emmy-winning turn in Northern Exposure to heartfelt roles in Big Sky, French Exit, and Sully, she became a treasured presence on stage and screen for more than 4 decades. Born in Indonesia and raised across 3 continents, Mahaffey brought a rare depth to every role she embraced. Her early stage work in New York included acclaimed performances in Dracula and Top Girls, earning her 2 Obie Awards. But it was her portrayal of Eve, the lovable hypochondriac in Northern Exposure, that won her a Primetime Emmy in 1992 and endeared her to millions. Valerie's brilliance shone across genres: comedy, drama, stage, and film. She was captivating as Madame Renard in French Exit, earning a Spirit Award nomination, and delivered poignant performances in Dead to Me, Desperate Housewives, and Young Sheldon. Whether playing grand characters or quiet hearts, she brought warmth, wit, and a sparkle of mischief to every scene. Behind the camera, she was equally loved. Friends and colleagues remember Valerie for her kindness, humility, and infectious energy. Her husband, actor Joseph Kell, said it best: "I have lost the love of my life, and America has lost one of its most endearing actresses." On May 30, 2025, Valerie Mahaffey passed away in Los Angeles after a courageous battle with cancer. She was 71. She is survived by her husband and their daughter, Alice Richards. Valerie once said that performing gave her a sense of purpose and joy, and that joy was shared by everyone who watched her. Though the curtain has closed on her final role, her light lingers in every laugh, every tear, and every line she spoke with such elegant sincerity. We will remember her always, not only for the characters she gave us, but for the heart behind them. Jeff Margolis was the man behind the magic of television's greatest nights. With an unmatched passion for live production and a heart rooted in kindness, he directed some of the most iconic awards shows of our time: 8 Oscar ceremonies, 22 American Music Awards, 7 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and so many more. Jeff passed away on May 23, 2025, in Nashville at the age of 78, leaving behind a brilliant legacy that transformed the way audiences experienced celebration, tribute, and entertainment. From his early days holding cue cards on Let's Make a Deal for his uncle Monty Hall, Jeff built a career on innovation and integrity. He believed in collaboration, respect, and leading with grace. "I've never yelled, never embarrassed anyone. I build family wherever I work," he once shared, and it showed in the joyful, polished magic that defined his productions. Jeff wasn't just a director, he was a memory maker. He directed Richard Pryor, Live in Concert, specials for Michael Jackson, Cher, Elizabeth Taylor, and more. He helped stage moments that defined eras, from presidential galas to moving tributes like United We Stand post 9/11. He won Emmys, Directors Guild Awards, and the hearts of colleagues who speak of him with reverence. But perhaps most telling is what Jeff said himself: "I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning and go to work." Jeff Margolus is survived by his children Adam, Aaron, and Samantha, and grandchildren Max and Milo. Through them and through every standing ovation his work inspired, his love for storytelling lives on. In a world obsessed with spotlight, Jeff thrived behind the scenes, quietly shaping the shows we'll never forget. And now, the curtain closes for a final time on a man who truly gave the stage its soul. Terry Louise Fisher was a trailblazer with a pen sharp as a gavel and a heart that beat for storytelling. Best known as the co-creator of the groundbreaking series L.A. Law, Terry passed away peacefully in her sleep on June 10, 2025, in Laguna Hills, California, after a long illness. She was 79. Born in Chicago and raised in Los Angeles, Terry's life was a rare blend of brilliance and bravery. A UCLA Law School graduate, she began her career in the courtroom as an assistant district attorney. But it was the stories behind those cases, the people, the conflicts, the truth, that ultimately drew her to the writer's room. In 1983, she traded litigation for scripts and joined the acclaimed series Cagney and Lacey as a writer and producer. Her words gave dimension to characters who were strong yet vulnerable, and her Emmy win for the show was just the beginning. Terry's legacy soared when she teamed up with Stephen Bachko to create L.A. Law, a series that revolutionized how America saw lawyers and legal drama. It was sharp, witty, and unapologetically human. Under her pen, the courtroom wasn't just about justice. It was about life, with all its complications and contradictions. The series ran for 8 seasons, won 15 Emmys, and made household names of its talented cast. But Terry didn't stop there. She co-created Hooperman, launched 2000 Malibu Road, and championed pilots like Daughters of Eve, always daring to explore new voices and forms. Along the way, she uplifted countless actors and writers, especially women, and proved that real power lies in authenticity. Off-screen, Terry was also an author, a legal mind, and a force of kindness and intellect. Her stories weren't just scripts, they were reflections of a life lived fully and fiercely. Terry Louise Fisher is survived by family who loved her dearly and an industry forever shaped by her courage and creativity. Her voice may be quiet now, but her words, smart, soulful, fearless, will echo long beyond the final fade to black. Jim Quinn was more than just a radio host. He was the sound of Pittsburgh's mornings, a trusted companion, and a passionate voice whose presence spanned generations. He passed away late last month at the age of 82, following complications from an aortic aneurysm and open-heart surgery. Born in New Jersey, Jim's unmistakable voice first graced Pittsburgh's airwaves in the 1960s on KQV. Over the decades, he built a dynamic and enduring career, with highlights that included his time at WTAE and, most memorably, The Quinn and Banana Show on B94. From 1983 to 1992, alongside Don Jefferson, he brought humor, irreverence, and authenticity to morning radio, creating a beloved duo that left an indelible mark on local pop culture. Jim was a performer at heart, known for his wit, energy, and fearlessness behind the mic. His work extended beyond music and comedy. He was a talented satirist, known for parody records like Undercover Pothole. Later, he reinvented himself as a conservative talk show host with The War Room with Quinn and Rose on XM Satellite, and Quinn in the Morning on WAVL, proving his versatility and passion for discourse. Colleagues remember him not just as a broadcaster, but as a mentor and a man who truly loved his craft. Jim never really retired, Don Jefferson recalled. We laughed every morning, and he taught me so much. Reinventing himself in talk radio, that's no easy feat. But he did it, and he thrived. To many in Pittsburgh and beyond, Jim Quinn wasn't just a voice on the radio. He was a fixture in daily life, someone who brought both laughter and thoughtfulness into living rooms and car rides. His passing leaves a silence that's deeply felt, but his legacy will echo every time someone remembers that golden era of radio where Jim Quinn reigned, with courage, charm, and conviction. Sasha Jenkins was more than a journalist or filmmaker. He was a cultural visionary whose voice shaped how America remembers hip-hop, punk, and black creativity. Jenkins passed away on May 23, 2025, at the age of 54, due to complications from multiple system atrophy. His wife, filmmaker Raquel Cepeda, confirmed the news. Born in Philadelphia and raised in Queens, Jenkins came of age surrounded by graffiti art, punk rock, and rap battles. These early passions grew into a career that redefined hip-hop journalism. He launched one of the first graffiti zines, graphic scenes, and explicit language, followed by the hip-hop newspaper Beat Down. But it was Ego Trip, the bold, genre-defying magazine he co-founded in 1994, that cemented his legacy. With it came books like Ego Trip's Book of Rap Lists and influential VH1 shows like The White Rapper Show. Sasha wasn't content just documenting culture, he transformed it. Through his documentaries such as Fresh Dressed, Bitchin', The Sound and Fury of Rick James, and Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues, he captured the complexity of black identity and creativity in America. His Emmy-nominated series, Wu-Tang Clan, of Mics and Men, was a poetic tribute to an iconic group and a community's resilience. Sasha spoke truth with artistry. At Variety's Truth Seekers Summit, he reflected, "Hip-hop is not black history, it's American history." That belief powered every frame he directed, every word he wrote. He co-founded Resurgent Pictures with Cepeda in 2022, continuing to develop fearless, thought-provoking work. He was also a father, a husband, and a mentor, a man who moved between street corners and red carpets with equal grace. Sasha Jenkins is survived by Raquel Cepeda and their 2 children. In honoring him, we remember a man who didn't just chronicle culture. He created space for others to tell their stories too. His legacy, bold and unfiltered, will resonate for generations. Douglas McCarthy, the iconic frontman of Nitzer Ebb and a defining voice of industrial and electronic body music, EBM, has died at the age of 58. His bandmates announced his passing on June 11, 2025, expressing deep sorrow and requesting privacy for his family. No cause of death was immediately disclosed. Born in Essex in 1966, McCarthy's musical journey began with childhood friends Bon Harris and David Gooday. Together, they formed Nitzer Ebb in 1982, creating raw, aggressive tracks driven by minimal synths, metallic beats, and McCarthy's commanding voice, a mix of urgent shouts and declarative chants. His vocal style, which he wryly described as shouting and pointing, gave their music a unique intensity that resonated far beyond the club scene. Nitzer Ebb's early releases like Isn't It Funny How Your Body Works and Let Your Body Learn became underground dance floor staples. Their debut album, That Total Age, 1987, cemented their place as pioneers of EBM. Touring with Depeche Mode that same year further expanded their reach, and McCarthy collaborated with Alan Wilder of Depeche Mode in the project Recoil. Though the band initially disbanded in 1995 after 5 albums, McCarthy returned to music in the 2000s, working with techno artist Terrence Fixmer and releasing a solo album, Kill Your Friends, in 2012. Nitzer Ebb reunited in 2007 and remained a powerful live act into the 2020s. McCarthy's artistic journey wasn't limited to music. He studied film and design in Cambridge and worked in advertising, bringing a refined creative vision to his later work. But his later years were marked by health struggles. In 2024, he stepped back from touring due to liver cirrhosis, a consequence of past alcohol abuse. Despite sobriety, recovery was ongoing. Douglas McCarthy leaves behind a legacy of fearless innovation, unrelenting energy, and a voice that galvanized an entire movement. He was not just a performer, but a revolutionary presence in electronic music, one whose echoes will continue to inspire for generations. Michael McStay, beloved British actor known for his roles in Doctor Who and No Hiding Place, passed away peacefully at the age of 92. He died of heart failure on May 11, 2025, just an hour after sharing a Sunday lunch with his sons, a moment his family described as a graceful and fitting final chapter to a well-lived life. Born with a natural gift for storytelling and presence, McStay's rise to fame began with his role as Sergeant Perryman in the hit ITV detective drama No Hiding Place, where he appeared in over 80 episodes. His magnetic performance earned him acclaim and opened the doors to a decades-long career in television and film. He went on to star in classic British series including Doctor Who, where he played Derek Moberly during the Tom Baker era. Though his time on the show was brief, he expressed deep admiration for the show's devoted fans, calling them friends who only wish you well. In his final public interview in 2024, he spoke with affection and gratitude for being part of that legacy. McStay's talents extended to the big screen, with film credits such as Robbery, 1967, and The Stick-Up, 1977, and to numerous series including EastEnders, Ted and Alice, and Coronation Street, his last television appearance in 2011. At one point, he was even considered for the role of James Bond, a testament to his charm and screen presence. Off-screen, he was a loving husband to actress Jennifer Clulow and a devoted father. He was remembered by his family and colleagues as a man of dignity, warmth, and sharp wit, a consummate professional who left a mark not just through his performances, but through the grace with which he carried himself. Michael McStay's life was a quiet triumph of passion, perseverance, and love for his craft. He may have exited the stage, but the applause for his legacy continues. Breaking news. Today, we shine a light on one of Hollywood's most enigmatic legends, a man who made millions laugh but privately carried more weight than most will ever know. Bill Murray is not just the dry-witted icon from Ghostbusters or Groundhog Day. He is a man who has navigated emotional distance, public scrutiny, creative restlessness, and the shifting tides of fame. Behind his famously aloof charm lies a story of quiet endurance, introspection, and resilience. So let us ask, when you think of Bill Murray, do you see the deadpan comic genius, or the man who spent decades quietly navigating personal storms? Share your thoughts in the comments as we journey through the defining moments of a complex and compelling life. Born on September 21, 1950, in Wilmette, Illinois, Murray grew up in a large Irish Catholic family. His childhood was full of humor, but also marked by financial hardship and the early loss of his father. He attended Jesuit school and even considered becoming a medical student, but fate had other plans. He dropped out of Regis University and found himself in Chicago's burgeoning comedy scene, where he joined the Second City alongside fellow future legends like John Belushi. His big break came when he joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1977. At first, audiences were skeptical, but Murray's unique comedic rhythm and fourth-wall-breaking irreverence soon won them over. He was not just funny, he was unpredictable. That unpredictability became his signature. Hollywood followed. From Meatballs to Caddyshack, from Stripes to Ghostbusters, Murray became a fixture of 1980s comedy. But it was Groundhog Day in 1993 that marked a subtle transformation. The film, a blend of absurdity and existential dread, mirrored Murray's own growing restlessness. By the mid-1990s, he had tired of commercial comedies and sought roles that reflected a deeper emotional register. That shift became fully realized in 2003 with Lost in Translation. Playing a faded actor adrift in Tokyo, Murray revealed a vulnerability few had seen before. The performance earned him a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, and an Oscar nomination. More importantly, it opened the door to a second act in his career, marked by quiet introspection and collaborations with auteurs like Wes Anderson and Sofia Coppola. But success has never made Murray immune to hardship. His reputation for being difficult on set began to overshadow his performances. He has had well-documented clashes with directors and co-stars. Some found him aloof, others accused him of being emotionally unavailable. In 2022, production on the film Being Mortal was halted following a complaint about inappropriate behavior on set. Murray acknowledged the incident, describing it as a joke gone wrong, and expressed a willingness to reflect and grow. Health challenges have also quietly followed him. Though Murray has kept most medical concerns private, those close to him describe a man who has grappled with emotional fatigue, particularly following the loss of close friends like Harold Ramis and Gilda Radner. He has spoken tearfully about Radner's brilliance and the ache of losing a generation of comic peers. In recent years, he has also been visibly emotional when discussing the declining health of longtime friend Bruce Willis, referring to him as a good man who gave everything. Despite the heartaches and stumbles, Murray remains a magnetic presence. He has lived without a manager or agent for most of his career, choosing instead to work through a mysterious voicemail system that only a few directors have access to. This unconventional approach has only deepened the mystique. In public appearances, he often deflects pain with humor, but sometimes the mask slips. At the 50th anniversary of SNL, Murray cried while watching tributes to former castmates. At Sundance 2025, he admitted that certain roles had become his way of processing guilt and seeking redemption. "These characters," he said, "they are part of me. They are how I say I'm sorry." Through it all, he has continued to create. From the poetic melancholy of Broken Flowers to his soulful Santa Claus in A Very Murray Christmas, he explores themes of loneliness, aging, and reconciliation with the same subtlety that once fueled his comedic timing. Today, Bill Murray lives life on his own terms. He appears in film when inspired. He crashes weddings uninvited. He sings karaoke with strangers. He weeps for his friends. then makes the world laugh again. He is not the flawless figure Hollywood sometimes demands, but perhaps that is what makes him beloved. So we ask again, what do you see when you look at Bill Murray? A wisecracking ghostbuster, or a man who has quietly borne the weight of memory, regret, and growth? If his story moved you, leave a comment. Share your favorite Murray moment. And if you believe, like we do, that legends are made not just from laughter, but from the honesty behind it, then like and subscribe as we continue honoring the stories that define our culture. Thank you for joining us in celebrating a man who taught us that the best performances do not always come with applause, and that even the quietest souls can shape generations with a smile and a shadow.